Okay, boom, that works. Perfect. So now I can actually monitor the chat there. Let me just test YouTube. How am I gonna check YouTube? Ba-ba-bum. It says it's streaming. Let me just. Can you guys hear the music? By the way, or is the music really soft? Might be a bit too soft, eh? Oh, there we go. I absolutely love this song, though. It's such a chilled song, but it's so fucking nice, actually. Why can't I see if I'm live on YouTube? Just mute YouTube. It looks like I'm live on YouTube. Have a look here. Alright, so I need to test out the chat function here in YouTube. How the hell do I do that? Sorry guys, I'm still figuring out this. Hey Hendrik, how you doing, brother? Nice to see you here as well. How have you been? So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I can type in the chat here. Test. Let's see. It should work. Boom. I sent it through on YouTube, but oh, there we go. It came through. Perfect. So all the chats were working. I don't have to stream on my phone everything anymore. I've got chat on my window here. Perfect. We're improving as the stream goes, guys. Like, I haven't streamed in so long, and it's kind of trying to figure out how all this stuff went. But yeah, we are here. I tweaked the settings a bit. I hope the music is not too loud and drowning out my voice. If it is, let me know so I can just dial it down a bit. And yeah, what we're going to be doing today, though, guys, is I'm kind of going to run through the process of how I set up a scenery for commercial renders. And because I've lately been getting a lot of feedback. Am I a bit too soft? Well, let me see if I can boost my mic a bit here. I don't know how I can boost it. Let me quickly have a look here. Gain. Hey, how's it, Leon? Let me boost the mic just maybe like 2 decibels. Should be good. Let me know if this is better, Hendrik. Leon, welcome. How's it, brother? And yeah, so 2 decibels might be a little bit too little. So let's just try 5. And I should be a lot louder now. So I've also moved away from the speaker in the back, and I've got headsets now that's playing around. Alright, Hendrik, awesome. I've got headsets here because I noticed some of my other streams, the music I was playing on the speakers were actually echoing through my mic. So I got some, well, not got some, I actually had some wireless earphones, and it was meant for my phone when I go gymming or something. Well, not gymming, I don't think that's a word, but when I go to the gym. So yeah, but any case, apart from the stuff that we're improving, or that I've been improving on the stream. So today I'm going to show you guys how to set up the commercial scene, how I do it, what's my process, what do I look for, kind of what do I put in. I'm going to be creating a custom HDRI. I'm going to show you guys how I create HDRIs, and the very best part is after I create that scene, I'm going to put it on WeTransfer and you guys can download it for free. So WeTransfer is a limited time, I think it's like 3 days that you can download the thing, and then you can download it and drop in your models and you can render it however you please. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Hey Leon, it's a pleasure, brother. Mudassir, welcome, brother. Yes, it's gonna be on Keyshot. So let me actually open up Keyshot here. I'm gonna be setting up everything in Keyshot. I just need to kind of find a ring that I want to use for this. But we're basically going from nothing up until we get a nice look and feel of a commercial render that we would like. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full white transparent thing, or would I rather do a bit more of a stylized thing that's going to allow you to have a bit more realistic results. And I'll be very honest, this is going to be the first default scene setup that I create, so I might not be all that good with how I'm going to set up the cameras and how everything's going to be laid out in the file. So it's kind of going to depend on, if you stay on the stream, you're kind of going to see where I adjust what. So if you do download this, you're going to know exactly where what is. Like, I know if you need some 3D scenery stuff, 3D Jewels, they make some awesome stuff that you can buy for pretty cheap. I think it's like $25 a setup or something. And yeah, I'm going to basically show you guys how to do that and give you guys that for free. So, first order of business, right? I'm just going to set up all of this stuff to my standard things. And we need to go choose a ring. So I want to quickly go grab a ring. And I'm thinking there's a very specific ring that I want to use, and a very specific reason why I want to use it. Let's just see here. Alright, and I believe it was this one. I just want to quickly check the CAD on this one. Pia Bito, also welcome to the stream. Sorry, I didn't even greet. And yeah, everything that I do is going to be Keyshot, and I primarily only use Keyshot. I'll use Blender every now and again to create sceneries and stuff if I'm doing something a bit more complex. Yeah, we'll use this ring here that I have. This will actually work perfectly. And then we're going to use this ring just without its wedding band. To kind of set the stage on how we want the commercial render to look. So yeah, let me quickly just, or actually no, I don't want to use this ring. There's another ring I want to use. I'm actually, you know what? Let's do it like this. I think this is going to be a better approach, right? Let's actually go download a free ring model. So I'm going to head over to, let's go, maybe not CG, yeah, we can go to CG Trader. Let's go grab a free model as well. That might actually be the best course of action. Ring, because I mean, you guys can kind of get the same stuff as well. So this might actually be a pretty good model to use, or I don't know. To live up you. Yes, Hendrik, I'm live on YouTube as well. I think YouTube is a bit of a better platform, I think, for educational stuff than Facebook. I just know I've got a lot of people that look from Facebook as well. But yes, I'm live on YouTube. Let's use something maybe simplistic like this. What do you guys think? Maybe, yeah, I don't want something that I have to spend too long to prepare for renders and everything. So whoever this Jewel 99 or Jewel 999 guy is, this is his model basically, and we're gonna use this model to set up our scenery. And yeah, please let me know if the music is too loud, because I can manually set it here in my ears, but I actually have to dial it down a bit, because if I can't hear myself speak, it gets terrible. Still newbie streamer over here. I gotta listen to myself as well. But yeah, where are you guys tuning in from? I see there's a couple of people here from YouTube and such. Where are you guys based? Where are you from? How's your weekend been though? I had a very chilled weekend. I've been so busy lately and been kind of overwhelmed with the amount of projects and everything. I had to just take a step back. So yeah, yesterday Me and my girlfriend went on a date night. We went on to like these gaming arcades. Felt like a bunch of kids, played a bit of games, won a few tickets, ended up picking a prize for one of my nephews for a future birthday, so we don't have to go out and buy one. So we had fun playing games, and the tickets we won bought him his next birthday gift. Okay, so let's take this. We'll use a. Do I really have to do this now? Okay, let me just log in here. Oh, now I have to wait again. Okay. Any case. So we'll download one of these models. And then, yeah. Something pretty cool I played around with the other day was one of these live render stuff from, what was it called, man? I can't remember the name now, but it's like a playground thing. You drag in your model and you can choose your environments and all that kind of stuff. And it's good for quick renders, but I think for more detailed results, you can't really use that if detail is going to be a main concern. So let's quickly see this model's downloaded. And what I'm going to do first is we're going to hop into Rhino and just prepare this model a bit better for renders, because I'm going to be replacing I'm going to be replacing the center stone with one of my own models and everything, and then yeah, we're going to kind of smoothen out the looks of it. Okay, let's just drag in this. Oh, perfect, it doesn't have a stone. Cool. In any case, so the very first thing I'm going to do with this thing is we're going to quad remesh this thing. It's X and Y, it's exactly the same. So we're going to quad remesh this. Let's just preview this, kind of see what we're working with. Oh, that's not a bad topology. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to prepare models for render in this stream. I'll keep that for a different stream. But yeah, this will work fine. And then we'll actually import one of my gem models around. Let's use the round 2 actually. Boom. Just got a top view here. Kind of scale this thing to where we think it should be, which I think is about there. Now that should kind of be good. Just want to see these claws are a bit high on top. Let's just raise this diamond slightly. Oh, actually no, it has to sit down a bit. I'm gonna have to shorten the claws a bit on this one, but it's fine. Quickly do that. Shaded. Just do this. That should be good for this. I think that's more than enough. Eh? Yeah. And then it's a bit big, the diamond, so let's just make it slightly smaller. It should be good. Which version of Rhino am I using? This is Rhino 8. So I use Rhino 8, and then they're still a bit too big. And then I like to use Grasshopper Gold with Rhino 8. It's actually a very nice software to use, or a very nice plugin which is free, believe it or not. And it makes a lot of modeling stuff so much easier, especially if you don't know much about modeling, which I don't. Okay, yeah, that'll work. I don't want to spend too much time with this, so let's just do this. Herb, boom, create this. Let's just Boolean difference this, because this is a very important thing, right? I like to Boolean difference stuff, and then you just make the stone slightly smaller, And the reason behind that, right, and I like to use box edit for it. The reason behind that is once we head over into Keyshot, you can use a dielectric material instead of a gem material. And even though the gem materials, they have these, how can you put it, these ignore intersecting geometries, but for some reason it creates these weird lines sometimes in the stuff. So I like to just Boolean difference it and then just box edit them very slightly smaller. Like you can see it's very small, and that just allows you so much more how can you say, flexibility in Keyshot when you're setting up your gem materials. So we're gonna go ahead and save, no, not save as template, just save this as let's just create a test thing here, stream solitaire. All right, boom. So then that's done for that. Then we can literally go in and drag in our ring here. Tests. Stream solitaire. Let's drag in our ring here. Alright, so we got our ring. And I'm just going to switch to GPU mode. I prefer working in GPU mode actually. It's just so much better and quicker and faster than trying to work in CPU mode. It's taking a bit now because just before I went on stream I updated my drivers, so it has to initialize. I mean, I know this is kind of off stream, but I'm just positioning this ring in the geometric view. Just put it down like that or something. And this is a very small ring actually, but the diamond on this thing is very small. So what I'm gonna kind of do, where I want to get at is, like I said, we're gonna be doing commercial renders with this thing, and first and foremost I like to get my camera angle at like 100, just to get the focal length at 100 millimeters, because that's generally what you'll use for jewelry photography. Between 85 and 100, kind of depends on what works. I might actually leave it at 85, and yeah, we'll just keep this camera for a front view, put this maybe at like 12 degrees, that's fine, and save that as front camera. So we kind of got this thing, and it should be no, it's not nicely in the center. So we just want to center that. And then let's save that right there. And does the GPU 100% constantly? So yes and no. It does try to get as much going as possible. I see now I might have to work in CPU mode for a bit because it's lagging out my camera, because yeah, it does use most of your GPU stuff and everything. So I want to kind of get up on materials here. So materials, we can go ahead and actually create some custom materials. It doesn't take that long. It's super easy. Like, let's go metal. Oh no, not metal. Metal. So let's create some materials for this. First of all, I'm going to use the advanced tab, and the diffuse, we're going to make it completely black. So this is going to be for our silver material, gold material, and rose gold. First of all, and you're going to actually adjust the specular value for the color that you want to get. And then the trick is here, the refractive index, we're going to put that all the way up to 10, and boom, all of a sudden we have silver. So I might add slight bit of roughness, like 0.05, just because nothing is perfectly polished. So we got our silver material already, and diamond, we'll get to that now. What I'm actually going to end up doing is creating multi-material, and we'll just duplicate this one. We'll call this yellow gold, go silver. Silver or white gold or whatever you want to call it. Generally when I do white gold, I like to put a bit of a orangey tone to it, or brownish yellowish tone, just because that's the realistic thing of white gold. And then for gold, we're gonna go a bit more, this is more rose gold. I'll just go around 31. We go, and then just kind of play with it to get to the stuff that you want. If you want a higher carat of gold, you're gonna just increase your saturation. I'm gonna kind of go for something a little bit more subtle. So, okay, we got the gold set up, and now we can do rose gold. And rose gold is kind of a I've found that most of my clients, they like their rose gold differently. Some of them like it a lot more pink, some like it a bit more red. For me personally, I like more or less around about here, rose gold. But yeah, then we have our rose gold set up, and that's literally how quick and easy it is to just get like 3 setups. Like obviously you guys can fine tune this to look the way you want it to, but we basically have our very basic metal setups. So let's move over to the gem here. We're gonna go dielectric and put this at 2.418, which is the accurate refractive index for a diamond. And we're gonna put the Abby number at 55 and just increase the samples to maybe like 36 to ensure that it looks good. And it still looks like shit. We'll see it come to life once we start with the HDRI and those kind of things. Let's go with this diamond. Boom. And yeah, then once that is kind of done, what I want to do is I actually want to bring in a backdrop here. So we're going to bring in a backdrop. And I'm just going to adjust this in a geometry view because it's a lot easier. I'll actually drag this here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to make it smaller first of all. And we're going to snap it to the ground. Move it slightly back to about there. Alright, perfect. So we have our backdrop, and then here I'm going to put it as advanced. Refractive index to 3, and the diffuse color, this is gonna be up to you, right? So I like to have the high specularity values and everything, and just up the roughness to kind of get rid of that backdrop planing and everything. So yeah, there we have that done. And then now, this is something that the gem material in KeyShot does not allow, is transmission out. So I'm sure some of you that renders, you've had clients that wants the kind of colors and stuff in the gems. And you can set those bluish colors in here, maybe just a little bit more subtle. And what I'll actually do is I'm going to turn off my webcam for a while. And go and head on over to GPU mode just so it calculates quicker. And here you kind of have that going. And bear in mind, we're still in the default setup environment of KeyShot. We haven't even touched the environment yet, and it's already coming to life. So what we're gonna do here is, I've got like these light studios that I work from. That's pretty nice. You drag it, it's a very good base, and I believe I got this from, I'll have to look at the website where I got it from, but it's a very good starting point for a backdrop. But I mean, this you can create yourself as well. So that's what we're basically going to do today, is I'm going to make a completely black backdrop, and then just set your resolution always on the highest possible. And we're going to start adding some pins in here to lighten up the scene. And because you have a backdrop, this is going to allow your metal to look a bit more realistic than if you were to turn off the backdrop, because then the metal looks like this. So the backdrop really helps with your global illumination. Alright, we're gonna kind of get it. I want a top light that's gonna light up the scene, and we might actually increase this brightness slightly to about maybe around 3, and then yeah, let's get some more detail into this scene. And this is going to be a super simplistic setup. By the way, if you guys got questions or so, please pop them in so I can kind of show you, or if I'm going too fast. But we'll kind of go. I like to use rectangles usually for these side pins. This is gonna kind of be your fill lights, right? And then that diamond is still not looking that great, and I'm gonna show you guys now why. Because we've been operating in basic mode, even in Keyshot, so there's not a lot of ray bounces happening. And if we're gonna pop this over to jewelry, it's gonna come to life. I mean, there you already can see there's a lot more detail in the diamond. Doesn't look great yet, but we're gonna fix that now. With actually, I'm gonna use a gradient pin for this one, and then this one we're gonna make black to kind of retain that color in the diamond. I'm gonna make that white, and I'm gonna kind of play around with the fall off here. And oh, I want to turn off this colors that's being caused in the diamond as well. Yeah, so I'm duplicating these lights. Essentially, on Keyshot you drag and drop them. If you want to get a bit more, you might need to get slightly bit more white into this diamond, and we'll do that through something like this, just a sharp pin, a small pin or so. Just that, and then we'll up the brightness slightly on that. Yeah, now Keyshot's very easy to use, and here we can kind of lighten up some facets with this small little bright pins where you want it. And this HDRI editor is super powerful. Like, there's very few softwares out there that allows for such ease of adjusting your environment and everything. I might actually turn this light slightly out, and then just kind of have a look here. -101, boom, just so we can have some symmetry in here. And I might actually end up lightening up this thing as well a bit. There we go. It looks a bit more white, and for now let's just turn off caustics. It's just increasing the render times. But yeah, essentially here's where most of our stuff is done. Like, I mean, this is a pretty decent render for websites and so. So yeah, is a good place if you're happy with this kind of stuff. It doesn't get overly complicated. It's decent enough for a website. You're going to be able to get some you get some nice results with this. And once that is done, usually what I like to do is go into, like, we've been in the default image tab as well. Go into photographic. You can choose which one you like. I used to use high contrast and image in my curve response, but I like using ACES nowadays, and I'll just bump up the exposure and the contrast a bit to maybe around there, and then we can tweak it further with this curve, which up the white slightly, and then maybe the lights also slightly, but you still have a very defining line of where your thing is. You can control the midtones, make it darker if you want to, whatever the case may be. And yeah, we can always introduce bloom, just get the threshold up a bit, and that's kind of blooming the side of the diamonds there. Just a slight bit. I wouldn't say don't overwhelm it with bloom. And yeah, that was a very quick thing on how you can actually get a quick commercial render. And this scene, you're going to be able to drag and drop stuff in, which I think is pretty cool. You're saying how user-friendly the UI is compared to the other rendering software. No, it is super user-friendly. This is why it's my preferred software to use for, well, basically everything. Like, a lot of people think Keyshot, like for commercial renders, it's probably the best in the market there is, no doubt. But once you get to a bit more advanced stuff, it's even still super easy to use, and it takes some getting used to in the beginning. Like, I've been using Keyshot now for about 3 years, so I've got accustomed to where everything is, and that's why I say if I'm going too quickly or something. Luckily, there is a this video is recorded and it'll be available on my YouTube and I think even on my Facebook. So you can always go back and rewatch stuff that you're unclear. But I mean, this is a pretty cool setup. What I want to go into as well is I actually want to add a label on the back of the ring to kind of like almost not a watermark it, but kind of get that going. So what I'll do is, let's go over to my Google Drive and quickly grab my logo here. I think it's this one here, yeah. So I want to drag this in as a label, and we'll maybe have a diffuse material. Now let's just use a diffuse. I'm going to put it as its opacity, and then drag it in by the label. Add label. So kind of want to go now and just tweak these settings. Don't want it to repeat, don't want it to be two-sided, and we gotta kind of get the size of it done right. So it's perfectly in position there now. Also, I would recommend using either planar or a cylinder for this kind of thing. Cylinder will give you a nice size and all of that, but the only thing is updated in a new version of Keyshot, but not on this one. We can set the depth of the cylinder. So I'm going to use planar mode, or planar, or however you pronounce it. I'm just going to kind of position that thing over there. That should be pretty good. And now we can go around and play with this, the color of this thing. So what I want to achieve with this is actually, I want it to kind of look like it was laser engraved. So the black isn't really going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this from a diffuse to a metal, firstly, and then I'm going to up the roughness quite a bit, and then I'm going to lighten it slightly so it kind of matches the look that we're going for here. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into the bump here, so we can actually have the bump on the label. So it gives it kind of a little bit of depth, and if it looks like too much depth, you just go down and lower the bump level. And I think actually this might be alright. Yeah, that should be okay. And then, yeah, we kind of have that going. I might want to zoom in the camera just slightly here. Actually use it like this, and maybe slightly a bit more up. We're getting some nice dispersion in the diamond now as well. We're going to do that, and then what I'm going to add here as an addition is a depth of field camera, because anytime you want something to look super realistic, depth of field is a must-have. So let's just select the depth of field here. We'll put the focal length at like 100 or something. Maybe a bit higher, that's a bit too strong. Around 185. That looks okay. I might bump it up to 190 just to kind of still have that logo in the backdrop there. And yeah, then this is kind of how I would go about setting up a quick commercial scene. Now, obviously, clients have different stuff that they like. Some don't like the diamond to have as much black in it, and I mean, you can literally go and just say, this is environment 1. Let's go and duplicate this, and let's get rid of some of that black in the diamond. And then it's literally just duplicating some lights. And then obviously now I'm going to duplicate this here and just bring some of that whites down so it doesn't overwhelm the blackness in the diamond. The diamond's kind of looking a bit washed away now. Now here's one other trick that I absolutely loved when I learned about it is if you have a diamond that's looking similar like this, there is a way that you could grab a disc, right? Drag a disc in and kind of position it in a way. Something like this, but much smaller. You can set up this disc. And see now it's a bit off center. But we'll go there and maybe take it a bit back or so. And then what I like to do with these discs is set it as an emissive material, make it black, non-visible to camera, and then that just makes a hell of a difference in the detail of your diamonds. And then of course the only problem is you have this like shadow here now, and that you go and you play around with it and kind of get to where you want the looks to be. The sizing of it, like obviously the bigger you make it, the more you're gonna have in the diamond. And yeah, you can kind of play around with the disc where you want it to be. Like there, if you see here now, it's creating some nice blue dispersions as you're moving it. And that's one way of doing it. You can obviously do that in the environment tab as well, but having a physical disc in here sometimes gives you a lot more control over where it reflects and where it doesn't. So generally what I would do is put it like here, make it slightly bigger, and maybe up it slightly, and something like that. But with an environment like this, the disc isn't really necessary, and we can always sort out some of the black stuff with another pin. Just make it a bit smaller, kind of position it where you want it, just to take a bit of the black out if it becomes too much for you. And you basically have a pretty decent looking diamond there. And yeah, you can sharpen up the scene if you want to, just sharpen it slightly. I don't like to overdo the sharpening because it tends to look like it's there's not much anti-aliasing happening, and then it can make stuff look a bit jagged. But I mean, essentially there you've got a pretty nice looking ring. Oh, this thing is skew as well. Just get that camera sorted. And then, yeah, you've got your yellow gold and your rose gold. And it's literally that easy to use KeyShot and set up like a thing. Like I don't know about everybody that is watching here if you guys actually use KeyShot, but like setting up something like this, you're gonna be doing renders that's better than 90% of the stuff that people can find on Fiverr. And I mean, Fiverr it's a great place to go, but I've had my mishaps with it. And this way you can literally quickly drag in a new model, position it. Like if we take another ring, let me grab an eternity ring here that I've done. I think it's this one. No, wrong one. Let's grab something else here. Maybe just grab another ring. I don't have a lot of 3D files. Have a look here. Maybe just use it. Yeah, Keyshot is definitely it's an amazing software, brother. It really does a lot for jewelry. Like there's still some stuff that it lacks, like the native glares and all of that. The closest you get to that is the bloom. Yeah, there's bloom here somewhere. And but on the other fronts, on making some commercial stuff, it's really amazing what you can do with Keyshot in such a short space. And it's gonna take practice. Like, if you guys download this scene and use this scene, sure, go ahead. But also try and create your own stuff, because it's gonna get to a point. Not every scene works. Let me actually pause here. Not every scene works with each and every design. Like especially with the environments. Like this environment works for this ring. It's a very symmetrical ring, very basic and everything, so it doesn't need any fancy HDRI or anything. But at the same time, if I were to go and actually do this and remove the backdrop, this HDRI looks awful. I mean, you can see that there's just, it looks, you wouldn't want to produce something like this. And even if we're going and making it a white environment and everything and putting it on a white background, you can't create a scene like this for it. Then you would rather go into something like one of my standard scenes that I use a lot is this kind of scenery. And then we just basically do this, turn it white. So like this would be if I'm not using a backdrop, this is the kind of scene I would use. And then but this is obviously now not optimized. This would just be the beginning point of where I would start my scenery and everything. But yeah, so this one here works pretty well. I've got a backdrop ramp, so there's kind of colors bouncing around. And yeah. So one other thing that I want to show you guys is once it comes to like Photoshop editing and all that kind of stuff, because this is a very good result for what it is, but you can make it even better. And things that I like to do to kind of make stuff a bit better is, for example, on the metal, we can actually go in here, and I actually want to duplicate this because I just noticed that it's not on there. And then here I want to change the color a bit to kind of match the gold. Can you set the lights to be non-reflective? So yes, you can, but it's not as intuitive like it is on Blender, where you can set light IDs. And so you can, if you set a light to be non-reflective, for instance, if I were to grab a plane here, right, and let's just make this an area light that's super bright. Let's just do like 2 or whatever the case may be, or 1. Like for instance, this area light, you can say, okay, firstly it shouldn't be visible to the camera. Then you can say it shouldn't be visible in reflections. However, it'll still light up your scene. But here you can toggle the reflections, but it's not like you can assign it should only reflect in the metal. That is not possible with Keyshot's limitation that they have. But other than that, I mean, you can really get some nice lighting. I generally don't like to use physical lights in scenes like these because they really do add a lot of render times. Octane renders like Artpix. Yeah, man. Welcome, Irshad. Yeah, Artpix and JModels and all of them, they use Octane. It's a super powerful software, something that I also want to learn how to use. It's got a steep learning curve and it's a lot slower than Keyshot. But it does produce very nice results. Like there's in Octane, there's something that they do with the metal. The metal for some reason looks a lot better in Octane. But while we're here, I just want to turn off this light here. It's actually not a bad place for the light where it is. I might actually just keep it. But what I want to show, where you can get into some more details, is like, for instance, on your metal. Right, I have some standard stuff that I probably got off of 3D Jewels and stuff, or on the internet somewhere. So materials, like I like to use just scratching. There's one from 3D Jewels that's free on their website as well that you can use. I prefer this one. So if I had to drag in this scratch material, we can actually set this up. We'll just add a color to number node. And we can add this onto the roughness of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a triplanar texture map. It just looks a lot better. And then kind of going to get the size down. Oh wait, this is increasing a lot. Kind of want to get this to somewhere, maybe somewhere around there. And yeah, then here you can always add just a very little bit of roughness onto it, and then you can bring out, wrong slider, you can bring out the scratches on here. And this is going to make some surface imperfections and those kind of stuff. I didn't put it on the gold, but that's basically going to create some surface imperfections, which is essential if you're doing something that should be photorealistic, because we generally like to do stuff perfect and all of that, and usually perfect does not look realistic. But I mean, if you take it here, there you've got your slight surface imperfections and those kind of stuff, and they look blown out like this, but I mean, if you're far away, it just adds that little bit of realism into it as well. And you can go far with it. You can even end up putting like labels, like let's go to silver here. You can put labels of spots on it. Let's take some, where's the spots? There we go. And I'm kind of going to do this for now. I'm just going to change now as well. Let's put it as a diffuse. Put it in, plug this into the opacity. Just invert these colors. And then you can kind of play around with the spots. So I hit C on my keyboard, so that it's going to allow me to kind of see where the spots is at, and they're currently not very visible. So we can add like small little dust particles to it, adjust the density, and just add some dust particles here and there to also help you increase your realism. And distort them slightly and maybe give them a little bit of fall off. And that'll also give you these slight dust spots and all of those kind of stuff that also will help you get some more realism into your shots. But all of this stuff adds render time. Like you can see, we're at 56 samples per second now. But that's also a very clever trick. So what I'm going to do here is essentially I'm going to separate these things in layers, right? I'm going to make this diamond, make this the metal, and then we're going to have this as the backdrop. Alright. And then we're going to render this out and do a little bit of post-production, get some more stuff looking better and all of that kind of stuff. So let's put this in the samples folder. Samples, boom, stream, solitaire, front, and then I'm going to render it out as a PSD. I'm going to make sure you tick render layers and create multi-layered file. And then what I want from this is basically I don't really need the shadow passes. You can, if you want to adjust shadows and all of that stuff, you can render it out. We don't really have much shadow happening here, and I'm not worried about adjusting the shadows, but we can basically add this. Just keep it at like 1,500 samples. That should be fine. And at what? Okay, we got 1920 by 1920. So I'm gonna add this to the queue, and then let's just send this to the network. Oh, my network monitor was closed. And this is now just gonna render on the network, and so it's just so I can utilize both PCs, so it goes a bit quicker. And yeah, then I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through how I do the Photoshop edits. I'll even show you how I do the metal changes in Photoshop. Like I like to use the white gold and kind of switch up the metal and those kind of stuff. That does not work if you've got a surface, a reflective surface underneath. But if you want to make some transparent images that can be used for commercial and those kind of stuff, it really helps. And it also saves time because you can automate that, which is if you're doing big projects, like I'm doing a ring builder project where I'm doing 400 designs, that has to be in all 3 metal colors, there has to be Photoshop edits, all of those kind of stuff. So you can automate those processes with Photoshop. It's going to save you so much time. And I'm not going to be going into automation now, but yeah. So what do you guys think of the setup here, the scene setup? Would this prove useful for you guys to actually use and be able to just drag in a ring, position it, and render it? There's very basic setups here, but I mean, there's an environment that's very basic. You've got 2 environments essentially. You've got your lighting. You've got the image tab here as well, which you can set up to your liking, adjust the values. Let's quickly have a look at this and open up Photoshop here. Have a look. So this is what you'll get when you render it like that. You'll have all of these things in layers as well. And how I go about editing, once you have, you'll notice you get these streaks through one. That happens whenever you use depth of field straight out of Keyshot. So what I generally do is I'll actually go in and duplicate this initial RGB thing, clip it to these things, because what happens is Keyshot renders out different layers, but the image tab, the alterations are made in the image tab is not visible. Like for instance, if I had to show you the metal here or the diamond, there should be slight changes in how they look. Well, not so much here. And I'm just gonna merge these things. Oh wait. And generally what I do is I convert it to a smart object. And once we got the smart object thing going, then the world of camera raw filters is this probably is one of my favorite stuff to use for adjusting how you want your stuff to look. So like this diamond, it looks okay, but I'm sure we can make it look a hell of a lot better than what it does. just by tweaking some values and getting some clarity up and everything. You can kind of reduce the noise in it, sharpen it slightly, reduce the noise, as well as the color noise. And here comes the fun part. What this allows you to do as well is you can adjust hues. So let's say this orange hues, right? You want this to kind of be a bit more blue. Or let's say you just want the blues and such in it. You can actually end up adjusting all of those stuff so it looks more bluish. So you get a bit more blue in the diamond. And I'm going to show you how we're going to get these yellow ones now to look like that. And you can adjust the saturations and all of those kind of fun stuff. But like that already looks much better. It looks less realistic now, but it looks a lot more clear. And I mean, you can always change it slightly here, the exposure, contrast slightly. You can really get creative with it. I mean, there already you have a much better looking diamond, and it feels like you brought life back to the diamond. And what we'll do is actually, to get rid of those other things, I'm going to put a hue and saturation thing up here. And I'm going to take the yellows, and I'm actually going to change their hue to look a bit more blue. Maybe around about there. You can increase or decrease saturation and the lightness and all of those kind of stuff. And then I want to adjust the greens as well slightly. Just kind of get that. There's not a lot of green in here. Oh wait, there's the greens. Okay. And kind of adjust those ones as well to look a bit more like you want it to. And yeah, then we head to the metal. What I like to do with metal is you can actually put a solid color overlay on it and kind of get the values you're looking for. So one thing that's super convenient to use is I'll show you here this thing by Will Gibbons, this metal color chart thing. And this is super useful to use. Like, I like to drag this in when I'm busy with my projects, just to kind of have a reference. So if I were to add a solid color on here, I can go and say, okay, listen, I want it to be 18 karat gold. I would assign that only to the metal color overlay, and you can kind of adjust the opacity, well, not the opacity, man. You can kind of adjust the saturation and everything on here. And it's a super quick way. This is this you can actually automate. And the nice thing is as well, it's going to keep out the colors from your diamond. Because Keyshot, generally, sometimes when you create a gold color, it does reflect in the diamond. You're going to get some of that gold color reflecting in the diamond, which is more of a realistic thing. But like I said, yet again, not a lot of people love the realistic looks of stuff. So I'm actually going to duplicate this, also apply it on here. And then we're going to go on the rose gold here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to darken it up a bit. And then perhaps increase the saturation slightly. And yeah, you essentially have your yellow gold, white gold, and rose gold. Easy as that. So, but what I want to actually do is, let's get in on the metal here, go into the camera raw filter, and I actually want to darken the metal just ever so slightly to get some more clarity in it. I mean, you can up the textures as well. It'll bring back some stuff in the gem as well. I'm just gonna up that slightly and then reduce a little bit of noise on it and sharpen it slightly. And that might be too dark. Yeah, let's just head back up the exposure a bit. And then you just brought back some detailing on your metal as well, and it looks a bit better. And I'll tell you, like, this kind of renders is basically what some or this quality of renders basically what you would see from some of your top tier jewelry brands. Like, this is the kind of quality you'll expect from you know, a Cartier or a Van Cleef & Arpels, Graff, those kind of people. This is the kind of grade or quality of renders that those people use. And apart from most of them, I know they replace the diamond with something a little bit different. But I mean, on the metal and those kind of stuff, this is what you can expect. So if you can replicate something like this, you are better than 99% of people that you'll find on Fiverr that does commercial renders. And it's a small portion of the work, commercial renders. For me currently it doesn't feel that way, but it's something that each and every jeweler is going to use for a website. It's something that a lot of them are going to use, even if you find a custom designing jeweler, they're going to want to use something maybe not as intensive as this, but like to show the clients their designs. And I mean, once you get the kind of gist of it and you know, you can go learn how to automate stuff. Like, I've got a few actions here on how I edit gems and all of that kind of stuff, specifically made for one client, to automate all of their edits and everything, so you've got consistent results. Yeah. Hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate the kind words. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually going to save that Keyshot file as a BIP for Keyshot. I think it's called a BIP, and I'm gonna upload it onto WeTransfer, and I'll make the code visible in the chat or something, and you guys can download it. So if you want that file, you're gonna have basically 3 days to download that file, and then it's gonna be gone. I'm not gonna upload it again. And then, yeah, you can go and start and make some of these renders yourself. I mean, this meeting is pre-recorded, and you can go and follow the steps and start making some world-class renders. And I mean, it's super easy once you get to know it. And I do want to encourage you guys to not just use that scenery, go and try and create your own as well, because it's gonna give you a lot of insight on how things work. Spend some time trying to figure out what works and everything. And yeah, so let's quickly save out here and actually save this file here as is. File save as. So I'm gonna put this into sample stream solitaire. Oh wait, I need to save package. Save package. Let's put it C samples commercial. Oh crap. And why does it look so weird now though? Oh, I've got the other scene in here. So let me just save that package again, because else it's gonna look very weird. And then now we can close out this and go over to WeTransfer. And then yeah, I'll paste a link to download this thing here in the chat. I think I can just paste it in the chat. So let's grab this here. How big is this file? It should be rather small. Yeah, 8.2 megs. It's really not big. Oh shit. Hold on. And then get link. And then please guys, if you guys are making some renders with this, send it to me in a DM on Instagram or tag me or whatever the case may be. I'd love to see what you guys are doing with this. And here it is in the chat. I don't know if it's gonna send to YouTube and to Facebook. I hope it does. Let me know if you guys found it on YouTube. And then, okay, it said it delivered onto YouTube, so I don't know if it delivered onto Facebook. Let me just quickly push this onto Facebook as well. And yeah, oh shit, what was that? Let me put it here on Facebook for everybody on Facebook as well. Go download the scene, show me what it looks like, and yeah, thanks for joining in today, and I hope you guys have an awesome Sunday. Hope this helped, and you guys will be making some awesome renders in no time.